Now let's go down the form, income, which is line 1, gross income. So basically, of course, we always pay tax on everything that we earn, that we get paid for. You have to pay tax on something even though they pay you cash, even though you don't get a 1099 for it, and blah, blah, blah. So I'll leave it to your own consciences on what to do, but that's what you're supposed to do, and most people do. I think we have a pretty high rate of compliance in the United States. It's not 100% by any means, but it's pretty good compared to other countries. You need to report all income. And again, this is for services or goods that you've sold. You know, somebody gives you money, you know, your mother gives you some money, that's not income, you don't have to pay tax on that, or you get a loan, that's not income, you don't have to pay tax on that. It's funds that you have earned, either through your services or for something that you have sold that is business related. So basically, the IRS always wants line 1 to be equal to or greater than the total of all the 1099s that you receive. And I presume everybody knows what a 1099 is, and if you don't, here's what it is. It's basically somebody has paid you for services $600 or more and is required by the IRS to tell them that they paid you. And that goes to the IRS, and the purpose of it is so to track, to make sure that everybody reports everything that they have earned. If you don't, if this line 1 is less than the total of all your 1099s, the IRS is going to send you, either they'll come knocking, or more than likely they'll just send you a notice to say, hey, what you owe us tax, why is there a difference? Now, sometimes there are legitimate reasons why that will be less, and that comes kind of as a following through on the cash basis. A lot of people will pay expenses on December 31st, knowing, you know, this is the last day of the year that I can get an expense for 2018, and so they drop their check in the mail on December 31st, and legitimately, they can take a deduction in 2018 for that amount. And they are required, if they pay you $600 or more, to report that in a 1099 to you for this year, for 2018. You're on the cash basis also, and don't have to report income until 2019 on that. So the problem arises when you get a big check on January 1st, or well, it'll be January 2nd, because the post office is closed, or whenever that comes in, and it's included on your 2018 1099. So it's a problem. There are a couple ways to approach this. One, if you're even taking that into account, if your 1099s are still less than the items that you're reporting on, or the income you're reporting on line 1, then you don't have to worry about it. There's not going to be a problem. The IRS won't address it with you. But if it is a problem, then what I normally do is have you attach a statement to your return to say, hey, I got a 1099 in 2018 for $10,000. I received it on January 2nd. Here's a copy of your bank statement showing, you know, that that's when it came in. I will report it on my 2019 return, and therefore I'm not reporting it in 2018. That works. I have had it where people have done that, and they still get a notice, and then you just have to sort of repeat it to the IRS when the computer generates a notice. But that's the best way to handle it. Yes, sir. So the question is, income on a 1099 does go on line 1. Also, though, like if somebody buys one of your painting or whatever from you, that would also go on line 1. And generally speaking, you don't get a 1099 for goods that you sell. Okay, so that's kind of it on, oh, one other thing. One other thing with artists, painters, filmmakers, some of your income you might get on your 1099 might say, instead of non-employee compensation, which is the typical way it comes in, sometimes it'll show up as a royalty. Non-employee compensation on 1099 is on box 7, royalties are on box 2. So they're both income to you, and they do go on Schedule C. However, if you do have a royalty, and the IRS sees this on the 1099, they think of it as a royalty, and they want to see it on a different schedule. And so I've included that schedule in here. It's Schedule E, which is page 7, and this is for basically Part 1 is for income from rental, real estate, and royalties. So let's say you get a royalty for $1,000 on your 1099. I report that in full on line 4 here. That's, or actually, in this case, we're using $1,500. But it really is income from my business. So to make sure that the IRS knows that I do know that I got that money, I put it in gross here, but then down below on line 19, I put in a little statement to the effect, royalties reported on Schedule C and $1,500. So it shows up as an expense. So the whole thing nets out to 0 on the Schedule C, or Schedule E. Line 21, which is the net income, is 0. In addition, back to Schedule C, on line 6 of Schedule C, I also report that as that income that was not reported in Schedule E. I put it on line 6 there as other income. In effect, by showing it both as income and then as an expense, I am moving it out of Schedule E and on to Schedule C. Now, again, some people do get royalties. Like I have a client who gets royalties for his father's work. And so that's not his earned income, and so that would show up on that Schedule E and leave it there. But for, again, if you are the creator of the income, then that's show it ultimately winding up on Schedule C. I would put royalties actually on line 6. That's where that $1,500 is showing up there. And then, but all the other income would go on line 1. We're going to go shift to expenses. However, while we're on the subject of 1099s, there is a question that you are asked here about whether you did file Form 1099, which is line J of Schedule C. So, again, the rules on this are if you pay someone for services in the calendar year, $600 or more, you're supposed to send them a 1099. Now, those are actually supposed to be out by January 31st, so you're late. And if you send them in now, you will get a penalty for them. So, you know, you just have to sort of make your own choice if you haven't done them. I would certainly in the future send those out, and you're supposed to do it now. The penalty, I can't remember, I think it's like $100, it's $100 per 1099, so it's fairly steep. So I leave it up to you whether you want to fix it, but you should.
Thank you very much for watching. If you would like to see more videos by California Lawyers for the Arts, please like and subscribe to CLA's YouTube channel so we can provide full-service live streaming programs soon. Our channel will be producing videos that cover all kinds of artistic, entertainment, and intellectual property legal issues. You can also find our videos on Facebook and livestream.com.